Snooker Loopy, nuts are we, me and him and them and me. We'll show you what we can do with a load of balls and a snooker cue. Pot the red then screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black. Snooker Loopy, nuts are we, we're all snooker loopy, bum 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 bum.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Snooker Loopy podcast. My name is Tom Mayhew and I'm joined by my very, very good friend. It's the ace in the pack. It's Joe Hannard.
Oh, thank you very much, Tom, and thank you for the blasphemous nickname as well. Yes. Although, to be fair, he nicked my nickname because my snooker nickname before he was around was the Juggernaut. And people started calling him the Juggernaut, so I'm very glad that sort of died a death, and he's now just Mr. Naughty or...
Mr. Naughty? No one calls
Bottler.
him Mr. Naughty, do they?
Bottler.
Bottler.
Yeah.
He's had a number of nicknames. I saw on Wikipedia he was once called Mr. Haircut 100 or something like that.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's possibly a segment for Cue the Laughter in the future, Tom.
What, Judge from...
No. Snooker player nicknames according to Wikipedia.
Okay, well, just as a slight preview for that, I saw one earlier this week that I'm quite sure isn't a real one. It said Stephen Holworth is called the Lincolnshire Sausage.
The Lincolnshire Sausage, is he?
I don't think that's his real nickname, but...
I want him to qualify for the Crucible just to hear Rob Walker say that.
I would love that. It's the Lincolnshire Sausage, here he comes.
Oh, that's a cracker.
I mean, that's the thing as well, because it is hard when players are... When you can't say, like, the former world champion, or when they don't have their own nickname, it can be, I suppose, quite difficult. Because I did watch during the shootout where... they have to introduce some players who aren't as famous or as well known, and
really,
sadly so. But and one of the ones was Luke Simmons, and they said something like, "Oh, he was born in Sheffield, but he currently lives in Leicester." Luke Simmons.
Well, there you go.
The tournament was in Leicester, but I just thought it was a very
very weird, very weird. Well, how are you, Tom, anyway?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm currently following the qualifiers on my... I mean, I'm not watching any of them because I don't have Discovery Plus at the moment. Have you watched any of them or caught any of it?
I haven't watched any, but I think as a Sky customer, I think I get Discovery for free, so I will try and tune in. I do have some bad news as well. Stephen Holworth is 7-3 down as we record this.
No, so not the Lincolnshire Sausage.
I'm not sure we're going to get the dream moment.
Not this year, mate. Not this year.
Snooker Loopy, nuts are we, we're all snooker loopy, bum 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 bum.
Well, shall we pick our qualifiers, our predictions for who we think is going to qualify?
Yes, absolutely. So, I'm sure you guys at home can do this as well. At the moment, there is a link on snooker.org called Guess the Crucible Qualifiers 2023. So that's what we're using today. Make sure you keep a note of your 16 qualifiers, and you get a point for everyone that you get. So me and Tom are going to take on each other. So qualifier 1, Tom, you have the choice of Ashley Hugel, George Pragnell, Fergal O'Brien, Liam Davis, Lucas Kleckers, Scott Donaldson, Yuan Sijun, or Ryan Day.
I mean, I can't see past Ryan Day because he's had a very good season. He only just missed out on top 16. I think Ryan Day, and I think just Ryan Day.
I think if you look at the standard of players, then the ones I could see potentially challenging him, Sijun potentially, Scott Donaldson. I haven't heard much of him the last couple of years, but he was a fairly consistent player back in the day. But other than that, I'm not really seeing any of those challenging Ryan Day, if I'm being brutally honest. So yeah, I'm going Ryan Day as well. So qualifier 2. We have Zach Surety, Farak Ajab, Ken Doherty, Ryan Evans, Zhu Si, Hamid Mia, Jamie Jones, and Pang Jun-soo.
Oh, I mean, this is much harder. There's less established names, I would say. I believe Jamie Jones might be the only one who's made, well, apart from Ken, but I think Jamie Jones, has qualified for the Crucible before.
Yeah.
It's between him and Pang, but I think I'm gonna go for Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie Jones, a couple of years ago, he had a good season, didn't he? I tell you who's one to watch on this, and I think he's very close to the top of the 1 year list, and that's Hamid Mia, which I know he is a Snooker 19 legend. But you know what? I'm going to go Hamid Mia for that one. I'm going to go against the curve. I think Pang is a very good shout, though.
Yeah, I mean, he has
had a great season.
He was in a ranking tournament final recently, wasn't he? Possibly.
Well, there you go. So, right, qualifier number 3. You've got On Yi, Michael Holt, Ben Mertens, Victor Sarkis, Oliver Lines, Julian Leclerc, Anthony Hamilton, or Jimmy Robertson.
In my head, I'm thinking either Michael Holt or Anthony Hamilton, and I think I'm going to go with Anthony Hamilton because I think that'd be a lovely story, and I feel like after he had to withdraw due to the COVID restrictions in 2020, I would love to see him qualify and beat Judd Trump, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a few names in there that could challenge. I mean, Michael Holt, again, it's that 4 matches of best of 19, and when he couldn't get through Q school, do I see him doing that? I'm not sure. Anthony Hamilton. I mean, Jimmy Robertson's not had a good season, has he? So, when he's sort of the top seed out of all of those, it's you know what? I'm going to go with my boy Julian Leclerc.
Well, it worked for you last time, so
it did. Now he's going to get to the World semi-final. So there you go.
Wow! I mean, what odds would you get on that at the moment?
Well, I think I'd get enough to at least retire for a year. Oh dear! Right, qualifier 4. So,
oh dear, he says.
You've got Ryan Thomason, Ian Martin, James Cahill, Stephen Hendry, Elliot Slesser, Lee Pai Fan, Liam Highfield, or Zhao Yulong.
Oh. Wow. I'm going to go for a left field one, I think. I'm going to go for Elliot Slesser. I think he's less likely, but he has qualified before. And I know he's your nemesis. I know he's from your neck of the woods and you've had history with him.
Not that he'll remember, but,
He beat you in some sort of junior final, is that right?
Some Ronnie O'Sullivan Stars final at Sunderland Riley's, actually. Yeah, there you go. Riley's in Sunderland. Anyway, it's a tough one for me because I'm between Liam Highfield and Zhao Yulong. I think both of them have got decent pedigree of qualifying for the Crucible. But I haven't seen much of Zhao Yulong this year, but I have seen a little bit of Liam Highfield, so I'm going to go Liam Highfield.
I think he's looked good when I've seen him this season.
Yeah, and he tends to qualify for the Crucible,
yeah,
which is, there's a few players like Stuart Carrington is another one that you never see ever except at the Crucible.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Chris Wakelin as well, until he won the shootout. But yeah, an interesting one. Right, qualifier 5. We've got Andrew Paget, Gao Yang, Oliver Brown, Ross Muir, Dwayne Jones, Jackson Page, Hossein Vafai, and Martin Gould.
Wow. Okay. I mean, because
there's a lot of very similar players in this bracket.
Yeah, and Martin Gould always does seem to qualify. He always seems to pop up as a qualifier in the World Championship fairly often. Hossein Bafai is...
I mean, he had a decent spell a couple of years ago, didn't he? He got the final of the, what was it, the European Masters, I think?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen much of him since. Bafai seems to have gone off the boil a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. But he did qualify last year, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm going to go Jackson Page, personally, but...
I'm going to go... Because I think he is someone who... He's an amateur as well, but I think he can... He's one of those amateurs who's good enough to be pro, and I think he will be pro again next season, I believe. So I'm going to go for Ross Muir.
Oh, interesting. Another left of field one.
Yeah, well, I just think if you get them right, it is more impressive.
Right, qualifier 6 then, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
We have Andy Lee, who I haven't seen his name for a long time. Andrew Higginson, who, of course, is an amateur. Sean O'Sullivan, Liam Graham, Louis Heathcote, David Grace, Joe O'Connor, and Sam Craigie.
I mean, wow. Is this the... Is it fair to say this is the least sort of Crucible experienced bracket so far?
But weirdly, it's also like the group of death, because you have, I feel like, a lot of very similarly performing players. I mean, maybe take Joe O'Connor out of that, but you put maybe a Sam Craigie, David Grace, Louis Heathcote, Andrew Higginson, for instance, in a similar sort of bracket, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this is tough, because I think... Have any of these made the Crucible? I think David Grace might have done a few years ago.
Did Joe O'Connor make his debut last year, or did he get to the Judgment Day and then go out? Is that it?
Possibly. I've got a feeling him or Craigie have maybe appeared once.
Craigie definitely did.
Okay.
I'm just having a look at Joe O'Connor last year. No, he did lose in qualifying last year, to be fair.
I mean, he's probably had the best season of all of them, no? That's why he's one of the highest seeds. I think in honour of your Snooker 19 series, Joe, I'm going to go for Joe O'Connor to qualify.
Yes, I mean, I went the same. He did lose to Ashley Hugill 10-7 at Judgment Day last year, so I think it's his time to shine. And I tip him to actually, if he does make it, win in the first round, depending on who he gets.
Yeah.
I think if he gets somebody like even up to a Mark Williams sort of level, I think he could very much do it. Right, qualifier 7. Mm-hmm. We've got Peng Yisong, Michael Georgiou, Sanderson Lam, Liam Pullen, Mark Davis, Mitchell Mann, Liu Haishan, and Joe Perry.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the name screaming at me is Mark Davis, and I think he's currently off the tour if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
So that could possibly swing it in his favour. But...
It's hard to look past the experience of Mark Davis or Joe Perry, isn't it?
It is. But again, Joe Perry is somebody, since he won the Welsh last year, I've not seen a great deal of him.
And I think Liu Haoshan has been knocking on the door of the top sort of level of the sport, sort of top 20 kind of area for quite a while.
And again, you know, he's qualified for the World Championship 3 times before.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
Including the last 2 years.
Has anyone ever done it? I mean, someone must have qualified 3 years in a row. Probably many, many more than that. But Yeah, okay, I'm going to go for Liu Haoshan.
Yeah, I'm going to go Liu as well, because I think Joe Perry these days is a little bit more interested in the punditry side of it. And I actually see Joe Perry retiring in a couple of years. Qualifier 9, we have Dechawat Poomjang, Mink, Barry Pinches, Ross Bullman, Matthew Stevens, Fraser Patrick, Jamie Clark, and David Gilbert.
Dechawat Poomjang.
I mean, this is actually probably one of the most Crucible pedigree lot of players.
Yeah, it's crazy, really.
We've got Poomjang, who has been there a couple of times. We've got Barry Pinches, who in years gone by will have been there. Matthew Stevens, of course, 2-time runner-up, and tends to do pretty well in the qualifiers. Jamie Clark, who all of a sudden at the Crucible at least seems to turn up again, is a player that has qualified a few times in the last few years. And then David Gilbert, who of course got the semi-final. But I have seen a lot of talk about David Gilbert not enjoying playing at the minute.
Yeah, he seems to have had a tricky time mentally, from what I can gather.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go. I mean, you know who I'm going to go for because he's one of my favourite players, but Matthew Stevens.
I thought you were going to say Dechawat Poomjang as well.
No, I couldn't. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Mink beat him.
No, don't say that. He's going to go all the way. He's going to win the title.
Yeah, Matthew Stevens has qualified for 3 out of the last 5 World Championships, so
that's very impressive.
Yeah, I fancy him to get another one going. And again, you know, he's the sort of player that you quite fancy to win the first round if he gets there, depending on who he plays.
Yeah.
You know, if he's got Stuart Bingham or, you know, Ding Junhui in that first round.
Yeah, well, I would say, as sad as it makes me, I think Bingham's probably the most out of form player in the top 16, isn't he, really?
Well, again, always seems to turn up for the Crucible. Qualifier 9, then. We've got John Astley. We've got the Lincolnshire Sausage. Himanshu Jain. Daniel Wells, Craig Steadman, Ben Wollaston, Anthony McGill, and Chow Yu Peng. This is a tough one.
I mean, I think Craig Steadman's a very interesting one because he's never been in the top 64, but he's qualified for the championships 3 times, which is mad. Like, that's like a real specialist for just qualifying for the Crucible.
Yeah. But I mean, Anthony McGill. I don't know where he's ranked in the world at the minute, but he has had some great Crucibles recently.
Yeah.
But seems to, again, do nothing else for the rest of the season. He's currently ranked at 21 in the world. You know, but again, I think barring Crucible success would be a player nearing off the tour status. And I think, obviously, he was in the top 16 last year, so he didn't have to qualify. I mean, do we back him to win 2 best of 19 matches? I'm not sure. Steadman, you know, is a good shout. I'm actually going to go for the player that is top of the 1-year list as an amateur, and that's Daniel Wells.
Oh, that's a very good shout, you know. Well, I'm going to go with Steadman. I'm going to, you know, take a bit of a risk, and I think, but I genuinely think that's one of the hardest groups to call so far, I think. Yeah.
I mean, Chow Yu Peng, again, you know, has got Crucible pedigree. I don't know about you, but Ben Wollaston, I never actually see him win any matches, so I'm a little bit confused as to how he's a top 32 player, or nearly a top 32 player.
I wonder whether he's one of those players who's very steady and consistent on table 2, but then when he's sort of under the bright lights, he panics.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it, he's number 53 in the world, so...
Oh, that's lower than I thought, you know?
tour card at stake. I mean, just to take a break from reading the qualifiers out, since we're past the halfway mark. Speaking of tour survival, I think anybody really from 48 down is in a little bit of trouble. And so you've got Chow Yu Peng, Robbie Williams, Yuan Si Jun, Scott Donaldson, Jack Jones, Ben Wollaston, Matthew Stevens, Lu Ning. Lu Ning's suspended, isn't he? I think
he is. Yeah.
Jackson Page, and then Mark King suspended. Yeah. Mark Joyce, Dominic Dale, Elliot Slesser, Oliver Lines, Wu Yees. Is Wu Yees suspended?
No, I don't think
he is.
No.
Is he? No. Liang Wenbo somehow is in the top 64.
Surely he will fall out.
Well, yeah, and then Andy Hicks is number 64 at the minute, which I'm very surprised about.
He's done very well.
But you have got a few people on the bubble, like Mark Davis, he's 67, David Grace, 66, the aforementioned Stuart Carrington, 69, Jimmy White, 73. I mean, if any of these players qualify for the Crucible, they're going to almost certainly be into the top 64. I mean, I think you get a 2-year tour card anyway.
Yes, I think you do nowadays, because I think they you didn't when Cahill qualified, but the next year I think they brought it in, and that's how Jamie Clark stayed on tour, I think.
But anyway, back to the Crucible qualifier predictions. We have got qualifier number 10, and that is Marco Fu, Martin O'Donnell, Andre Petrov, Stan Moody, Jimmy White, Zhang Anda, Nopon Sangam, and Zhao Gudong.
Oh, I think I'm going to go for Zhao Gudong.
It's not a bad shout. I think if Jimmy can win his first match, he's got a good chance, but I also don't think his bottle is enough for Judgment Day.
Yeah, like I can't shake how badly he played against Hendry in that qualifier.
Yeah,
and that was pure bottle.
Yeah,
that was pure bottle playing that badly.
I mean, Zhang Anda, another player with a lot of Crucible pedigree,
and he's won just outside the top 64, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Nopon.
Yep,
actually, he's had a decent season.
Well, he's made the Crucible. Was it last season?
Yeah, so, I think he's made it a couple of times actually, and I think he won a match last year. I think so. Was it last? Yeah, and actually his previous time he beat Sean Murphy that time. I think last year was it Selby he beat or no? It wasn't Selby. It was Luca Brasselli beat last year actually, and then lost to John Higgins. Okay, on to qualifier 11. Jamie O'Neill, Bulshu Ravesh, no idea. Ravesh, Dean Young, Hayden Pinney, Andy Hicks, Peter Lyons, Graham Dott, and Matthew Selt.
Oh,
you know what? I mean, you give me that list at the start of the season, and I would, without doubt, say Graham Dott, but I haven't seen much of him this season.
Much of who?
Graham Dott. Yeah, I've not seen much of him, so I mean, I don't even know what his season ranking would be, to be fair. He must be fairly low on the 1 year list, but I mean, I'm just having a little scroll now to see, but yeah, 64 on the 1 year list. So, which you'd never think that of Graham Dott. But yeah, I mean, I hope he can bring something out, but I'm not entirely sure.
It sounds like he's going to bring out an Alan Jones impression at this rate.
You know what? I'm going to go Andy Hicks because he seems to be having a decent season. So I'm going to go Andy Hicks.
Well, I am going to go for Graham Dart.
Yeah, well, there you go. I hope you're right, Tom, so that we can say that in our Crucible preview. On to qualifier 12, we've got Mohamed Ibrahim, Anton Kazakov, Dylan Emery, Ma Hai Long, Mark Joyce, Ian Burns, Tepchaya Unnu, and Ricky Walden.
Joe is a big fan of Ricky Walden.
He is a big fan of Ricky Walden. But equally, Ricky Walden hasn't done a lot this season. Which is odd, because he ended last season doing very, very well.
I would argue none of these players have done a lot this season.
Yes. I mean, looking at the one-year list, you've got Tepchaya in 34th and Ricky Walden in 35th. And I would imagine the rest of them are probably well off the 64.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian Burns, I didn't even know he was still on tour, to be fair. Sorry, Ian, if you're listening.
Poor old Mr. Burns.
Well, exactly. Mark Joyce, 67. Ian Burns there, 76. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of Ma Hai Long.
No, I think I looked him up and he's a young player. He's kind of a 18-year-old or something like that. Right. So he's going to be...
Okay. For some reason, I thought these lists were in order of seed. So I was like, why is he mid-tier? I don't know. I'm gonna go Ian Burns.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna go.
I'm not actually. I'm gonna go Ricky Walden.
Good. I thought Ricky Walden would have been in tears at home hearing that. Well, I'm gonna go Tepchaya.
Yeah, Tepchaya again, a player weirdly with Crucible pedigree. I don't know how, but he does. His game style seems completely wrong for Crucible, but we'll see. Which is probably why he's only won actually 4 frames at the Crucible.
Yeah.
But on to number 13, we have got Michael Judge, Florian Nusel, Asjad Iqbal, Jensen Kendrick, our good friend, Si Joey, Dominic Dale,
hey!
Tom Ford, and Jordan Brown.
I've got to go Dominic.
Yeah, I mean, look at to be fair, other than Tom Ford, I don't really see anybody.
Jordan Brown, that's not bad.
Jordan Brown-ish, but again,
Jordan Brownish.
Yeah, he's not brown enough, I'm afraid. Yeah, Dominic Dale, I'm going to go for, because it has to be. And also, just for the absolute hilarity, I remember when I went to see Ronnie at the Crucible in 2011. I don't know why, but I was like, I bet he plays Dominic Dale, and he was drawn against Dominic Dale in the first round. So I actually got to see Dominic Dale live. So there you go. So it'd be hilarious if he is there when I go again. So
in the second round against Ronnie, hopefully.
Yeah. Right, qualifier 14 then. We've got Aaron Hill, Baipal Sirapapom. I think that's ladies world champion, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Alan Taylor, Phillips Kalnins, Michael White.
In the interest of fairness, Alan Taylor is currently 9-0 up against Phillips, so maybe.
Oh well,
maybe don't
I know
go
who
for
I'm going to go for then. Michael White, Wu Yees, Chris Wakelin, and Tian Peng Fei.
Oh, I mean, I'd go for Michael White out of those,
I know. You know what, Alan Taylor, because he's a heavy scorer. I'm gonna give him a chance.
I was wondering what you're going to say after heavy just then.
He's a heavy drinker. He's a heavy smoker, and he's a heavy scorer. Right, number 15. I'm not actually sure that's true, Alan. I'm sorry. Mohammed Asif, Julian Boyko, Alfie Burden, Rebecca Kenner, Stuart Carrington, Alexander Erzenbacher, Fan Zhengji, and Stephen Maguire.
Oh, that's a big name.
Stephen Maguire, number 65 on the 1 year list. He's even under Graham Dort. But
what a mental image that is.
Oh, dearie me. It's probably happened before, to be fair.
Stephen Maguire.
Is that who you're going for?
I mean, I don't. This is a really tough one because none of these players have had a good season. Like Fan Zhengyi is ranked quite high, but he has had a dreadful season.
Erzenbacher, well, again, one hit wonder. Erzenbacher, 97 on the 1 year list. I mean, I didn't see Carrington 69. Alfie Burden, I'm fairly sure, won't be much better. 116. Rebecca Kenner is 146 on the 1 year rankings. I'm looking for Fan, to be fair. He must be like the top. But I can't even find him on the 1 year list. Let's have a Control F. Fan. 87. So I think Stephen Maguire is the top 1 year list person on here. I'm going to go Stuart Carrington.
I mean,
because I said before.
It could be any of them, because they're all playing that badly. Part of me is going, well, maybe Alfie Burden will do it. I don't know,
I can't see it, I'm afraid, but
tell you what, I'm gonna go Fan. Just because I think I'd like to see him.
Because you're a fan.
I am a big fan. I'm a big fan of Zhengyi, yeah. But I'd like to see him do well in another tournament, because I worry that otherwise he'll just drop off the tour having won a ranking event, and that would just be very weird.
A bit like Michael Georgiou, I suppose.
Yeah, but Fan won a proper ranking event, not the...
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that I think you could win the shootout, Joe.
Well, yeah. Enter me next year. Come on, WST. Come on. You need us both in the shootout next year.
Yep. Celebrity entrance.
And then we'll be drawn against each other round one.
Yep.
Because that'll create the most fireworks. So.
And people will say it's a fix.
And you'll be known as the London sausage.
What's your name going to be then?
Well, it could either be the South Shields sausage or the Stockport sausage.
I think they should just all be sausages. Why not?
Stuart Bingham. The Essex sausage. Right. Anyway. On to the final qualifier. We've got Adam Duffy, Billy Castle, David Lilly, Rory McLeod, Jack Jones, Gerard Green, Robbie Williams, and Barry Hawkins.
Oh, my head says Barry, but my heart says David. That's the name of my autobiography coming out soon.
I mean, Barry Hawkins is number 19 on the 1 year list, so he's not had a bad season. He's had a better season than Ronnie O'Sullivan by the statistics.
Wow.
And Neil Robertson. So, to be fair, Robbie Williams is 28 on the 1 year list. I think I've got to go Barry Hawkins. I can't.
Well, I'll go David Lilly then, because one of us has to pick him. That's the rule of the podcast.
Okay, fair enough.
And I think genuinely, if he wasn't up against Ding last year, I think he would have qualified, because he was playing very well in the qualifiers last season.
Yep. So there you have it. Just to recap my 16 qualifiers for the World Championship. Ryan Day, Hamid Mia, Julian Leclerc, Liam Highfield, Jackson Page, Joe O'Connor, Liu Hai Shan, Matthew Stevens, Daniel Wells, Nopon Singham, Andy Hicks, Ricky Walden, Dominic Dale, Alan Taylor, Stuart Carrington, and Barry Hawkins. I'm not sure anybody in the world is picking those players.
I mean, the only two we've picked the same are Ryan Day and Dominic Dale.
Well, somebody's going to win then. Well, or we could both not get any of the qualifiers, which is quite possible.
I mean, I think that's very possible. But my 16 I'm hoping for are Ryan Day, Jamie Jones, Anthony Hamilton, Elliot Slessor, Ross Muir, Joe O'Connor, Liu Haoshang, Detcharat Poomjang, Craig Steadman, Zhao Gudong, Graham Dott, Tepchira Nu, Dominic Dale, Michael White, Fang Zhengyi, and David Lilly.
Well, I think
the Newcastle Sausage.
Yes.
His nickname is like the Pride of the Toon or something, isn't it?
The Pride of the Toon. I don't know. Apparently so. He's also the owner of the South Shield Snooker Club, so got to get that in there every time. But no, it'll be interesting, and I'm sure you guys will do a lot better than us. We I don't know if you've noticed at home, but we do take the mick sometimes. However, if one of us gets all 16 right, then of course we are just genius humans. So
I mean, if that happens, Joe, I think we should get a medal. We should get invited to the Crucible.
We should get personally invited to the World Championship to watch each of the 16 players.
Yes. Oh, that'd be so good. We'll meet and greet with them. Especially for you and me, Dominic Dale. I think we have to meet him. I'd love to meet Dominic Dale. I hope he's as weird in real life.
There was something I was reading, and it was about Robert Milkins, and I think, you know what? I think there's like this weird streamer on YouTube at the minute that streams all of live snooker. I think he's called The World of Snooker or something like that. And I've seen in the chat people were talking about Robert Milkins going on holiday. Apparently Dominic Dale was interviewing him. And Rob Milton said, I don't have anyone to go with. And Dominic Dale said, I'll go with you. So I'm just imagining this reality show of Robert Milkins and Dominic Dale globetrotting.
I would watch that. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. But
just Rob's there. He wants to lie and he's half asleep, and then Dominic Dale's already up in his Speedos going, come on, Rob, let's go to the beach.
Oh, dear, that's an image. Yeah. And I think if we can find an image of that, we'll have to have that as today's thumbnail.
Well, you can Google that, mate, this time.
Okay. Oh, no.
I can tell you're gutted, mate.
No, sorry. It was just from what I typed in, and
what, Dominic Dale in his pants?
And just Dominic Dale Speedos, but there was lots of people. There was lots of. I mean, there's a picture of Dominic Raab that's come up. Not in his Speedos, don't worry. But yeah, and then just various men, including Tom Daly, in Speedos. Yeah. There you go. So, unfortunately, no paparazzi have got a snap of Dominic Dale.
Not yet.
Not yet. Although, if they do from now on, they're going to accuse either me or you, so...
Rightly so.
Yeah. Rightly so.
Snooker, Loopy, that's how we're all snooker, a Loopy, bum 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 bum.
Well, shall we do our hit feature, cue the music?
Well, yes, speaking of Dominic... Oh, no, we're not doing Dominic
We're not doing Dominic Dale this episode.
Oh, dear.
Joe's very excited at the idea of talking about Dominic Dale for even longer. What are we actually doing today, Joe?
Well, we're talking about something a bit crafty.
Oh, what could that be? Any clues at home?
Any submissions? Anybody?
Someone, please.
Well, we are talking about the craftiest of crafty snooker players, Crafty Ken. But I wonder if people will be able to work out what music that's going to be related to.
Put your guesses below.
And you can't cheat. And also, if you do guess it, then we are assuming that you have indeed cheated, because there's no way that people are going to remember this. I don't think. Go on, put us out of our misery.
Catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon. Do you remember it?
Nah, I don't remember it, Tom.
Well, I'll play it in now then. Here we go. This is Ken. This is Crafty Ken singing Catch the Pigeon.
Well, I don't believe we've got a pigeon in the crucible. What are you doing here? Oh, please. Have you ever seen anything like this? Oh, don't come into it. Oh, he's coming into the commentary box.
Hello there. Where's the pigeon going?
Catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon.
There we go. That's it'll be a very short clip of him singing Catch the Pigeon. What do you think about that, Joe?
Well, I'm not. I think it's possibly more down to your wonderful editing skills that has allowed us to, really experience it at its full. So I feel like we should knock a couple of marks off for that.
I'm still hoping that he'll actually release it. That's what I want him to do.
You know what? I mean, I've seen a lot of interviews of Ken recently, and I don't think he's going to be playing snooker for much longer. So perhaps in the vein of another world champion, Peter Ebdon, perhaps that's what he could do with his life. As long as he, chooses that side of Peter Ebdon rather than the side that there currently is on Twitter.
Yeah, I did think after last episode, maybe we should get in touch with Peter Ebdon about recording Where's the Cue Ball Going? And I looked at his Twitter and I went, no, thank you.
You know what? That's one of the reasons I absolutely love recording this podcast with you, Tom, because you would not be afraid to email Peter Ebdon and ask him to do that.
I would I would not be afraid unless he was an absolute psycho.
So we'll have to think of somebody else.
Yeah.
Suggestions in the comments, please.
Well, it could be Ken. He's clearly got a passion for singing based on this recording.
Especially with your editing skills as well.
And I think I'm going to give Ken 6 out of 10.
You know what?
And that mark, if you're listening, Ken, that would go up if you actually record and release a full version. So,
for me, right, it would have to be a 5 because
Joe is not a fan of pigeons.
Well, it's not just that. It wasn't great without the music. So it would have been a 3. However, he gets 2 marks for how quick it was.
Yep, that's
how
fair.
quick-witted it was. And to be fair, to get in there before John Virgil, that is very impressive, I think.
There we go. Well, that's an average of 5.5 for Ken. But I will say, Ken, if you release it, we can re-review it once you release the full version.
Yes, we need more segments.
We want a music video, ideally, of Ken dressed up as a pigeon.
With John in the background going, "Where's the pigeon going?" Yeah, but let us know your scores down in the comments.
Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon.
Oh, I need to get my charger. 1 sec. Joe, you do some filler. You just talk about Catch the Pigeon for a minute.
I've been asked to do some filler from Tom. And I think, to be fair, we need to reflect on the animals that have been involved in World Snooker Championship history, including pigeons. We've had wasps. We've had lots of wasps in the past. But yes, let us know your best animal memories from snooker's bygone era. I do think a wasp is quite a good one, but stuff will struggle to beat the pigeon. And also he has my next question. Sorry, I was just having a conversation with the audience. I was asking them to put in their best animal-related memories of snooker in the past. I was thinking about wasps. There's quite a few wasps and flies. But I was just about to pose the question: do you think the pigeon was involved in the match fixing?
Possibly. I mean, what an exclusive this would be for the podcast. No wonder they want to catch it so much.
Yeah, and no wonder Yan Mingtao's face just dropped when he seen it.
Suddenly, it's all making sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're right, Joe. I think you are.
I'll be impressed if you keep that in, Tom. All of that.
Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon.
Cue the laughter.
It's time to cue the laughter. Here we go, Joe.
Yeah.
What have we got this week? It's been brought by you. So what have you brought this week?
Yeah, well, it has been brought by me. I'm starting to think it's this segment is how much rubbish can Joe muster up from his collection.
That was the working title, yes.
Or cue the laughter. But yes, this week I have got a very strange bit of merchandise, actually. So back in the late 2000s, of course, we still had a regular snooker game coming out every year, which, I wish that was still the case now. Mm-hmm. And we also had the absolute craze that was the Nintendo Wii. And amalgamating those two things together, we got an exclusive Wii game, actually, WSC Real 2008. I believe the other ones were 2009. So, yes, it was an exclusive game. And it actually came in a little case. Yeah, it came with a Wii cue that you have to screw together and make a cue out of it, obviously. And you can put your Wii remote in it. I'm trying to work out how on earth it goes together, but here we go. I'm putting it together live on camera now. Now, bearing in mind this has been in a box for about 15 years.
But it's a proper solid, metal case, right?
Yeah, it's a proper solid metal case. It needs a bit of chalk on the end of the cue, but yeah. And also, I mean, the most exciting part of this is that it came, and wait for this, Tom, it comes with an hour's worth of Riley's snooker vouchers.
Really?
Or a voucher. A voucher for an hour at any Riley's in the UK, and I've got the receipt here. Well, not a receipt; it's a little voucher. And it's got Steve Davis looking rather longingly at the camera.
I think we've got our thumbnail,
when is this
Joe.
Photo shoot going to be over?
We've got our thumbnail, Joe. Here we go.
Yes. When is this photo shoot going to be over? And it's got a quotation here, Tom. Mm-hmm. Now that's interesting. That's it. Okay. This voucher entitles you to 1 hour of free snooker at Riley's. To claim your free play, take your voucher along to any Riley's pool and snooker venue. So you get your free hour of snooker by going to a pool venue. This voucher entitles the bearer to try a Riley's of their choice without the requirement to pay a joining fee or day member fee. The offer can be redeemed once only and is not open to existing members of Riley's or members renewing, interestingly. Not to be used in conjunction with any other offer, because, apparently there was lots of offers for Riley's Snooker Club back then. And the offer was valid until the 31st of March, 2009. So I'm a little late to the party with that one, Tom. But
would you, Joe, would you be willing to go to Riley's and try and use it?
Well, you know what? It's what would I value more? The content for the podcast or keeping this slip of paper? And genuinely, I think I might want to keep this slip of paper.
Oh, no!
Yeah, but I am intrigued by this game because...
Well, is the idea that, because it's a motion control Wii accessories, it is the idea that you would buy the game, you would practice your snooker on the game, and then want to go play in real life? Is that the whole...
Well, I'm guessing that was the idea, but quite a nice promotion. I mean, they don't tend to do things like that anymore. But I thought I'd bring that one along for you, Tom, because it's really interesting. There you go, very interesting. But there's also another quote from Steve Davis on the back, and there's another picture of him looking rather... dumbfounded that he's found himself here all these years later. And it says, once you start to play, you won't want to put it down. It's like being there. And that was from Steve Davis as well. And there's also another image on the front of him looking slightly more interested by Ronnie O'Sullivan's backside. So,
as he should be.
As he should be, yeah. Not this exact cue, but I have used the one that came with a 2009 version, and it was... I mean, the problem is it's quite short.
Yeah.
So it feels more like a dagger that you're pointing rather than a snooker cue, but, I think the idea was there.
Well, shall we wrap up this episode, Joe?
I think we should.
We'll be back probably within a week or so for the World Championship real predictions.
Yes. Not the... Just to clarify, not the game.
No.
Not the game World Snooker Championship real.
No.
But
the real...
Although that would be interesting.
What, predict who wins the championship in that game?
Because it'll be Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Selby or Jamie Cope in the final, and Joe Swale probably gets to the semi-final, and yeah. That'll only make sense to people that have ever played that game.
And it's that kind of niche content that you come here for.
Yes, but thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much,
if you're
guys.
Still here.
Do let us know who you think will qualify in the comments. And we'll see you very soon for the big tournament. It's coming, Joe. It's on the way.
I know, exciting times. And the Ronnie O'Sullivan shop is open as well in Sheffield if you are rounding about in Sheffield.
You've got to do a vlog of that, mate. Can you do a vlog of it and just show us around?
What, of the shop? Yeah. I'm not sure they'll let me in with a camera.
Why not?
I don't know. They'll think, who's this weirdo?
Yeah, and you'll be
with
like,
a Geordie accent.
Do you know who I am? I'm Captain Goodspeed.
I'll take my Captain Goodspeed business cards.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably give you some free merch.
Way.
Yeah, well, I'll catch you very soon, guys. Thanks for listening. Please do share, like, all that stuff. And we'll see you about.